Hey, what's going on, guys? Well, I want to have another discussion about tops. I do have something to admit later in the video about tops, so stay tuned for that. I have a guilty confession to make. But anyway, this video is less about tops and more about the much broader idea, the bigger picture here, that I believe tops are a part of. It's like a movement. Okay, that's what this is. There's a huge movement. You guys don't even know about it. So I'm here to tell you about it. So first, let me start off with about 2 weeks ago. I'll tell you a short story. About 2 weeks ago or so, I was doing some food shopping with my wife at a superstore, and we were also getting some household items. And she had mentioned to me that she wanted to get a coloring book. Now, my initial reaction was, yeah, sure, we'll get my niece Kaylin a coloring book because she's a little girl, and that's usually who buys coloring books, little girls and sometimes little boys. No, I want to get myself a coloring book. What? I'm like, why do you want a coloring book? She's like, no, not a kid's coloring book. I want to get an adult coloring book. What the hell is that? An adult coloring book? When she said it, the first thing that popped in my mind is like, pornographic images that adults color in. That's fun. You're going to need like a whole pack of Crayola flesh tones. But no, that's not what an adult coloring book is, although that may be most people's assumptions, at least adult males. So I'm thinking, oh, cool, yeah, I'll color in with you with the adult coloring book. But no, that's nothing to do with that at all. So anyway, she explained to me what an adult coloring book, and what differentiates a child's coloring book from an adult coloring book is that the adult coloring book usually has very intricate pictures, very small spaces to color in, like big patterns, there's different themes and stuff like flowers and animals and all kinds of crap like that. But generally speaking, they're highly detailed. So if a child were to use an adult coloring book, it would look like crap, first of all. And secondly, they would probably get frustrated trying to color in the lines of very, very small shapes. So she explained to me that this was a thing in our society, adult coloring books. And I'm like, there's no way. I never heard of it. If it is, it must be something new. I'm like, that's ridiculous. So she proceeded to bring me over to the adult coloring book section, which existed there. And most of the coloring books were sold out. Then we went over to the office aisle where the crayons and colored pencil were. And all the colored pencils were sold out. I'm talking like 6, 7 rows, barren, nothing there. So like, I'm okay, fine. This is like a thing. People are buying adult coloring books. More specifically, teenagers. It's like a very popular thing amongst teenage girls apparently, and women. Adult women. So like, I'm still kind of having a hard time understanding why adults want to color. But then she explained to me, it's like a stress thing. A lot of people are doing it to relieve stress. Okay, whatever. So I didn't really think much about it, right? That was 2 weeks ago. So last night, I'm looking at Time magazine, this issue of Time magazine, which is March 14th, 2016. Okay, Donald Trump face. So, and I stumbled across this article. Okay, and guess what it's on? Adult coloring books. Fascinating. How coloring inside the lines came into fashion. Now I'm going to spare you reading the entire article, but I will scroll down to the bottom and read a section of it. It says, why are so many adults shelling out money and taking the time to pick up an activity most left behind around the time they learned how to tie their shoes on their own? Many claim coloring promotes mental well-being. Best-selling color books for adults include words like calm or stress relieving in their titles. There's a book called Stress Relieving Patterns or Less Chill. That's another book. And there's even a book called Calm the F Down. Okay. So, yeah, it's interesting. Now, the beginning of the article is talking about, I'll read another section here real quick. Grown-ups today ride scooters, we read books written for teens, and flock to restaurants that offer hoity versions of kids' menu staples like mac and cheese. Perhaps it should come to no surprise that coloring books for adults have become a trend. So this is all about how adults are doing child things. So that brings me back to the topic of tops. It makes sense, right? Tops is a childhood thing. It's the things that children do. That's why so many people feel that it's absolutely ridiculous and stupid and a waste of time and certainly a waste of money. Yeah, I didn't realize that adult coloring books were a thing. In fact, there's a coloring book that's very, very popular called I think it's just called Swear Words. And there's literally swear words, but it looks like a children's coloring book. And I think this is popular among teens because it's funny to color in a swear word like in school and no one really knows what you're talking about. I have an example for you, which I printed and then my wife colored. Shitballs. This says shitballs from a coloring book. And I don't know, if you're picking this up the right way or if it's mirrored on camera here. But it might be hard to see at first if you're a teacher and you're just walking by. You might not read that as shitballs. So I kind of understand how that could be funny to a teenager, I suppose. So yeah, coloring books for adults are definitely a thing. And I can definitely concur with kids type foods becoming more popular for adults. And the scooters, that was a great example, Segways and scooters and the hoverboard thing, whatever that, not hoverboard, but I don't know what it's called, the things that are blowing up on everyone. These are child activities that adults are starting to enjoy. So let me first clarify something too, is that I never suggested that spinning tops are a thing in our society, because it's certainly not. Okay, it is very specific to the gear community here on YouTube and Instagram and other social media outlets. Even that, it's still a small portion of the gear community that's into tops. I still feel like the vast majority of the gear community doesn't care. But there's enough people making them that it's becoming popular, and because people are talking about it, it's becoming popular. And like someone commented before too, is that tops were being made by like custom knife makers for a long time before they were even popular. The fact that like all of a sudden it's a thing, that's a fad. It's literally the definition of a fad. It's people are talking about it, people are getting interested, they want to do it. Is it going to last forever? No, I can pretty much guarantee it's not. Now here's my guilty admittance to you. Okay, I'm going to admit something. I do have an EDC top, okay, and I call it an EDC top because I carry it with me everywhere I go. Okay, it's part of my EDC, but I don't really use it, so I'm going to stop carrying it. Okay, I find that 99% of the time when I'm using a top, it's when I'm sitting at my desk and I'm doing work on YouTube, reading messages. More times than not, like I'm kind of listening to a video and playing around. Also when I'm doing my bills for some reason, when I'm literally just doing my household bills and figuring out, who I have to pay and what I have to pay them. I'll spin the top and go ahead and calculate some numbers or whatever and write them down and write out checks and make sure I make my payments where I have to, and there goes the top. It's done. Let me spin it again. So I think that the main place and the biggest reason why people are buying these tops is for an office type environment. It's to sit at your desk or sit at a table and just spin it while you're watching TV or doing work or whatever. It's a time killer. I never suggested that it was going to replace cell phones and all the modern entertainment that we have, because the top is just entertainment. But as I've said from the very get-go, the reason why these are interesting to people, not only are they, a lot of them are made to very tight tolerances. I mean, it's precision metalwork. Most people who like very high-end knives can appreciate that part of it. It's not just, hey, this is a good tool. It's, wow, look at how this is made. It's amazing at the tolerances, and just, it's not all about the materials either. It's just a cool thing, and I think most knife guy, like I said, if you're a knife guy who's buying a $500-600 custom knife, you can look at a precision made top and go, wow. You can appreciate the craftsmanship that's in that top. You may not care like to spin it, and you certainly may not care to pay for one of those, but you can at least appreciate that work. So that's part of it. But I think the bigger part of, instead of going, wow, it's made well, it's the competition part of it. You know what I mean? Like, with knives, it's always been competitiveness. Like, oh, look how sharp my knife is. It can cleanly slice through paper. Oh, that's cool and everything, but check this out. My knife can cleanly slice through a notebook paper or phone book paper. Wow, we're getting thin, right? Well, that's not good enough. Now we have to, cut like a, tube of a cardboard tube from a paper towel roll. Can I slice through that without it knocking over? Like, there's all these different cutting competitions that people do, and that's been going on for many, many years. Even before YouTube, before there was videos, people were talking about stuff like that, different types of cut tests you do with knives. And what is the purpose of that? The purpose of that is to show the performance of that knife. It's no different than someone going, yeah, my top can spin for 12 minutes and yours can only spin for 5. It's competition. And men, specifically men, because there's no women buying these tops, even though you might think it's a female collectible. It's not. It's mostly guys, I'm sure. Of course, that's just my assumption. But it's competition. Oh yeah, your top can do 6 minutes, mine could do 10 minutes. Ooh, how about that? It's the age old, I'm big, bad, and better. It's that kind of thing. It's I don't know. That's part of it. That's definitely part of it, is the showing off aspect of it. And there always were people making them, but now because it's becoming popular, people can see the money that's in that. So they're making them. So the more people making them, the more that are available out there. And when there's something that is growing in availability, collectability follows. Okay, so now it becomes, well, hey, do you have a top from this guy? No, I got to get one now. So that's part of it too. So you have collectability, you have the people who appreciate the precision, craftsmanship, you have the people who are competitive. So all these things kind of play a role. All that being said, it is a very small part of the gear community. It's not going to grow it and, surpass knives or anything else. But, the proof is in the pudding. Like I said, I showed you guys two completely different Indiegogo campaign pages. One was, of course, for the neck knife, and I do have a different look on this. Maybe we'll talk about that in the future. I did this one, and that is like almost at half funded, okay? I think there's $9,000 raised right now of an $18,000 goal. And I think it's going to progressively do good, but I don't even know. I'm not certain that's going to actually be funded. I don't know. And that's knives. How many people love knives, But again, go back to the Indiegogo page for the top that I showed you guys. That's at like $91,000 now. That's ridiculous. $91,000. The last video I did, it was like $70,000. So another $20,000. Boom, just like that. $20,000 worth of pre-orders. If you don't consider that to be a thing in our community, then, I mean, come on. I don't think it's an arguable thing. But anyway, like I said, I don't really care if you guys like tops or not. I don't take it personally. Some people may think that I'm making these videos because I'm like upset that no one likes tops. Oh, no one likes tops except for me. Poor me. It's not like that at all. I really can care less. I promise you that. I find it fascinating, but I will admit, though, that I'm not going to EDC one anymore, and I'm not probably going to refer to them as EDC tops anyway, because I think that the majority, and this is just an assumption, but it's also based on talking to people and stuff, because I have talked to many people who have top collections, and for the most part, from my experience, those guys are spinning them at home, and they're doing it on their desk all the time and stuff like that. It's totally a time killer. It's a fun thing for them, but from the people I've talked to, the majority of them don't carry them with them. Okay, so I think we can at least drop that part off of it as being an EDC item, or at least a popular EDC item, But a lot of people brought up some very good points too. Is it like people will say, yeah, tops are retarded. What are you going to use a top for, But people have challenge coins. That's a comment on it. No one ever complains about people carrying around challenge coins. They don't really serve a purpose, do they? To some people they do, but they're not a functional item, so they must be it must be stupid to carry that, right? I don't think so. To each their own, really. I don't carry something like that. I do carry a silver dollar on me all the time for good luck. Does that serve a purpose? No. Well, it's money, but I'm certainly not going to spend it somewhere to store for an item. I just have it for me for good luck. I like it. It's a cool little thing. And plus, if you ever have to do a coin toss, it's a cool coin to whip out instead of a quarter. But yeah, I mean, the gear that you carry, to be honest, it doesn't have to have a purpose. It's just stuff you like, The vast majority of gear that people carry is useful. I mean, that's the reason why you're going to walk around with that weight in your pocket and so forth. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it really comes down to each their own. But I will continue to enjoy tops for now. I don't know, there might be a day where I'm just over it. That's fine. I can tell you that I'm not really looking up new tops. I'm not really looking up new designers and stuff. My focus is already turned into other things. We have warm weather coming out and stuff, so I'm not spending time inside flipping a top. During the winters, the winter months rather, the multiple winters I just experienced. No, the last couple months of winter when I'm stuck inside, it's cold out, there's nothing to do. Yeah, I'm at my desk, I'm listening to videos and spinning a top. That's one thing. But we have beautiful weather now. It was 65 or 66 here today. I didn't touch a top once. So I guarantee you during the summer months, I'm not going to be playing with tops. So it's not going to be a hobby for me. So that pretty much sums it up, guys. Damn, it got dark. I'm looking at my viewfinder. I don't think you can see me anymore. Yeah, I think I got everything across that I wanted to get across in this video. Adult coloring books are certainly a thing. However, they are not sexual in any way, which could either be good or bad, depending on how you look at it. Tops are certainly a thing, but they're a very small thing in a small group of people, in a small community, on a website, on the internet. You know what I'm saying? So on the grand scheme of things, no, you're not going to start seeing tops become popular in our society. However, you will continue to see other childhood or childish things become popular in our society. So that's it. Thanks very much for watching. I'm very much looking forward to the comments. Try to keep it civil. We're all amongst friends here. We all have similar interests, even though it may not be tops. But anyway, I appreciate you guys listening to me once again. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have an awesome day, and I'll see you soon with another video. Take care.